Ha, got it. Sweet. For the sake of this video, we're going to call this a good image. Feel free to mock me, but it is what it is. What's the dirtiest word for a phrase in filmmaking? Fix it in post. If you've never heard of fix it in post, it's a thing that gets thrown around a lot and it's scary. It basically means you failed and you're going to have to figure it out later. And that usually means more expensive, more time consuming, and people are going to get upset. So the opposite of fix it in post is get it on the day or get it in camera. This is especially for technical stuff like a stunt or a visual effect or a special effect. Usually, I think visual effect is post, so it's got to be special effect. Usually fix it in post comes up as a joke or a threat, or you've run out of time or something and you're gonna have to fix it in post. So you run out of actors' time, or you run out of money, or you just can't get that fire effect to work, then you have to fix it in post and it sucks. I think the most common fix it in post thing that has to happen is usually dialogue re-records. So ADR, whatever that acronym is where the actors come in, re-record their dialogue. It's a thing, but yeah, visual effects, special effects, a lot of things, relighting. So I'm not a visual effects guy, I'm certainly not a sound guy, but I am a color grading guy. So before I did this, before I put all the lights up, and I'll show you how I put all the lights up, I just turned on the house lights and recorded raw with my camera. I'm gonna try to debunk the fix it in post thing. I wanna see if actually lighting it versus just going for it with the color grade with raw data can work. I think I give myself about a 50-50 shot. I don't know how it's gonna go. I haven't tried it, but I'm gonna try to make this image that's baked in. I baked it into my camera with lights, you know, that I spent time on, and I'm looking at a monitor and I'm looking at it and I'm realizing how sweaty I am. This is the ideal. I'm gonna try to make the raw image look like this. We'll see how it goes. So here we go.
Color grading, we're doing color grading. Woo! Music, color grading song. Turns out I'm not as good as the South Park guys. Color grading. Hey, I don't look nearly as bald as I usually do. That's a fortunate turn of events. Color grading, we're almost done with the color grading song. And here we go.
Okay, montage over. So how did we do? We have two images here. One of these images was lit and is just baked in, coming right out of camera, and the other one is color graded. Is it obvious which one is which? If the shirt didn't give it away, the practical lamps in the back should, because in one image they look like lamps, in the other image they look like they're haunted. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's just, yeah, so the one on the right is the baked into camera, which has its own things that I have feelings about, which is why I don't tend to just light off the back of a screen necessarily. I mean, I do, but I still send it into, you know, my color grade afterwards. I don't just bake it in unless I'm being asked to, because of all this noise, which I don't know if you can see, but I'm supposed to be wearing black pants. On this one, for some reason, they're black. On this one, that bright red noise, which I think part of that is IR pollution, because they're black. It's a Blackmagic camera and they're black pants. It's a thing. I could have put a lens over, or a filter over it, but I didn't. But other than that, it's just there's like a three-dimensionality to the real thing, and I think most of it is these practical lamps. So, you know, initial thoughts. If you're a VFX person and you're really good at practical lamps, maybe you're okay, because they're doing a lot. They're casting amber onto this background, which is taking a lot of the blue out, because if you don't, it looks ridiculous, as you can see. But it's also rimming. There's a rim light on the couch. There's a rim light on the side here. I don't see any rim lights on me, but they're not that powerful. The rim light on the pillow. So there's a lot going on. Whereas these, none of that is happening really. It just looks haunted. It kind of looks like I'm green screened in, honestly. I think that's the big thing is, you know, you can spend as much time as you want, just like on set, you know, keep adjusting, but at some point you got to call it good. At some point, if you don't tell the director of photography you have all day to light, because the director of photography will take all day to light. So at some point you got to actually shoot the thing. So, I won't. I will admit I didn't give myself any favors with this particular setup. I've got raccoon eyes. My salmon colored shirt was a pain to try to adjust, and then also the salmon colored shirt threw salmon colored light onto my triple chin, so that was as bad as you can get. Whereas this, everything kind of yeah, there's a three dimensionality. It just looks real, and part of that is there's a bit of a wraparound. So I'll show you my lighting setups. We'll do that first. So the first one, so this one, here's what it looked like out of camera. Actually, we'll give you the Rec 709 just so I don't embarrass myself. Here is the Rec 709. So this is straight out of camera. We'll do an exposure adjustment too to fix that. So that's what it looks like straight out of camera. And yeah, so raccoon eyes. My giant nose looks even more gigantic with this huge shadow, and then a huge shadow here, and that is because the thing lighting it is this overhead fan, which is just ridiculous. I hate it so much, and it's a terrible color. It's like blue. So there's a fan where you can see it bouncing everywhere. There's white walls, there's a mirror. It's not great. There's a TV, everything's bouncing around, and I look like a very sickly person. But you know, once you balance the image, once you do some subject isolation, some background isolation, fake the lamps, fix the salmon shirt, fix the cast the salmon shirt was doing on my chin, fix the pillow, it's an improvement. It's closer than I would have. It's closer. I think if this shot was in the middle of a sequence of shots and the shot was less than a second, I don't think you'd notice, especially the haunted lamps, but it's not perfect, and I look like a different person in these two shots. It's crazy how much lighting makes you look better, because I would not date me. Anyway, so that was the first one, overhead lamp, and then the second one, you know, it's a lot more of a horizontal lamp, so that's why I can see. I still have dead eyes, but you know, because you don't have catch lights. But I can still, I don't have deep dark circles. It's a lot less pronounced of a nose thing, and the chin shadow is not quite as crazy. Still dealing with the fact that the shirt is pink, as you do. So yeah, there's the pink shirt, and it's casting a sunburn onto my neck. But other than that, you know, it's not so crazy. And that actually was lit like this. So I just took a lamp, shot it into sort of the corner / ceiling. And yeah, and I did have to cover up a hot spot because there was a hot spot on the TV that was really bringing out my shiny teeth and bad skin, so that's not great. So this is this is just throwing a very flat light back on everything. So this is literally what I would consider to be not lit. It's just flat, as flat as you can be, and that's why this looks like this in RAW. It's just super flat, but then you know, we can walk through it here. So this is the Rec 709, and then we can add an exposure adjustment, color balance, some subject isolation. I didn't do any background isolation on this one. Haunted lamps, salmon shirt, sunburned neck, pillow correction. And it looks better than the first one. I think that's obvious. So the one on the right is the one where the lighting is flat, whereas the one over here is top lit, and you can really see man, those raccoon eyes are rough. So it's an improvement. In this case, my pants are very red, so that's IR pollution, but it is what it is. But when you put that next to the real deal, you can tell it's a better quality image just everywhere. Yeah, so I think and I can show you how I lit that. Actually, I should address that. So it's not this one, it is this one. I don't know. Oh, you know what, that's why, because this is BTS. Yeah. So I put up some negative fill. So here, we can look at this. Okay, so that was number 2. That was just a flat lighting. This is number 3. So there's negative fill covering the mirror and sort of coming in this way. There is a little bit of white over here, but ignore that. So negative fill on this side, The lamps are both on, and I put in bulbs. The big thing though is I put on barn doors, and I shot this above my eye line, sort of horizontally, and the barn doors are making sure it doesn't go everywhere. And here's another shot of that. So it's going sort of up, but there's also a big pizza box here. I did have to still cover the TV because I was getting that bad harsh light. But so I was getting sort of a wrap around 45 degrees. So it was, it was coming at me on the side. So it's the light is sort of above, but it's also wrapping around. So it's a little bit darker on this side. So it gives me a little bit more dimensionality. But yeah, we're getting these little lamps are giving me a rim light on the couch, rim light right here. If I was closer to them or if they were stronger, I could have rim lighted myself with them, but I didn't. But if you look at the carpet on the wall, that's what's so crazy, is this amber is really cutting a lot of the crazy blue that's in the hideous backdrop, whereas I don't have that here, and so I could spend more time on it, but it's just not worth it. So it's better to light it. What took me multiple hours to get one of these, and honestly, once I got one, it was actually a lot easier to get the second one because they were so similar, because the only real difference was the location of the light, really, and the direction of the light. The light was basically the same thing. So these were a lot more similar than they were different, but it still took a long time in post. Whereas this one right here, it took me 45 minutes or an hour to set up all the lights and really get it to what I think is a pretty decent image, but I think it looks pretty decent. It's not perfect, but I look like a person in this one. This one, I kind of look like a person, but I do feel like I'm green screening myself, like I've dropped myself in. And then that first one with the overhead light, I look like a freak. I look bad. It's just, it's not good. That's the correct face. So, fix it in post. If you're a visual effects guy and you're really good at, creating lamps and vectors and, creating light where there is none using visual effects, sure, it's going to take a lot longer doing it that way than it is just to light it, in reality. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. But, just for color grading purposes, the haunted lamps suck. And then there's just an artificiality about, it looks like I'm green screened here. And the more you try to isolate yourself from the background, the more green screened you look, just because it's not convincing, in my opinion. So, in a pinch, you could get away with it, but I'm not convinced that this would be worth it when you could just look at that relaxed face right there. He's living his life right there. So, time and place for why you wouldn't want to light it at all and end up with something like this. And maybe you don't even color grade it. Maybe you just leave it as the Rec 709, which is, right there. Maybe you just leave it like that. Actually, we can even balance it, but it's not isolate it. Dallas Buyers Club, they didn't light stuff. They just went in and got it. You're going to get raccoon eyes unless you got a bounce board to sort of bring in some horizontal light to fix this and, fix this. But yeah, a lot of documentaries where you don't have time to set up because you're just in the zone, in the moment. Sure. It's the narrative will dictate how much lighting, if you need it or if you don't need it. But for, the vast majority of stuff, I think it's just worth it to spend a little bit of time, an hour, maybe a couple hours, composing the image, because it does make a crazy difference. And especially if you follow some really straightforward stuff, like have practicals in the shot, maybe don't be up against the wall like I am and squared up against the wall. That's bad practice. And then just make sure your lights are, at sort of a 45 degree above and or to the side of the subject, and your face looks round instead of potato shaped or flat potato shaped even. So, because yeah, it's just, you know, I look like I'm doing the DMV version of the dating show, and here I look like I cheated. I cheated at the dating show. Yeah, so that's what it is. It's worth it to light it. You know, if only just to not look like this. So, anyway, learn something? I don't know. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you next time.
And here's how I lit it. This is the Here's How I Lit It song. We're setting up lights. We're setting up the room. We're doing a bounce on one side and some negative fill on both sides because the walls are white. And that's the end of the video.